I bet you didn't expect to see me again so soon. Now, I must admit, today's video is not the regular roundup of news. It's actually a conversation with a man that has literally caused an internet World War III this week. Tommy the Lawyer on TikTok made a 4-part series on a lawsuit against Prime, and it got a combined 17 million views. Other creators picked up on this and did their own videos, and those too went viral, and it started a chain reaction. Before you know it, every comment section is saying that Prime is toxic, mainstream media started running the story, and a lot of people actually started believing it. That is until it got so big that Logan Paul had to address these rumors himself. His video has done over 20 million views, and a lot of people were saying that he cooked Tommy the Lawyer. And since then, Tom has deleted his videos. So I reached out to him to see what the hell was going on. And I am happy to report to you that I have the world exclusive interview of Tommy the Lawyer. I got to ask him questions like how much money he made, why did he delete these videos on Prime, whether or not he's actually being sued by Logan Paul right now, and so much more. So may I present to you the full interview, and I will see you again on Monday for the 3rd video this week. What the Enjoy. Hello, how you doing, man?
How are you? How old are you, by the way?
Have a wild guess.
Oh man, you're like 21?
Damn, no, 25. 25. Well, at least
Dude,
we're looking
you're
young.
like, holy crap.
I guess before I start, I should probably give you an idea, a little bit of like my idea for all of this. So I went on an interview with ITV, and they basically chopped it up in a way that was so terrible, and it misrepresented so much of what I said that I was like, if I do this, if I'm doing interviews, it cannot be like this. So I'm trying to give you like the fairest possible way for it. I mean, the first question I guess I just got to ask is, how have the last few days been for you, man?
They've been interesting. I think I've learned more lingo from. I thought I was young, but I'm not that young. Like little bro is the most frequently used phrase to describe me now. So, but I really think that it is a lesson in social media and how divisive and how quickly people can jump on one side or the other. There were a lot of people jumping on what I said, and then a lot of people jumping on what Logan said. And I think there's got to be somewhere in the middle that some people can land.
Yeah. So what do you think the kind of general response has been since Logan posted his, like on TikTok towards you? Have you got a good or a bad response?
But both. I think a lot of people are like surprised that when someone files a lawsuit, right? Like that case hasn't worked its way through the courts yet. There's a whole process that occurs. And I think there's some people that assume that you can just like lie in a lawsuit. But the reality is that there's sanctions for that, right? So I didn't even file the lawsuit, but the lawyer who did, if they really lied about that and didn't have evidence, there's all these motions that Prime could have filed and didn't file to sanction that lawyer for lying. I kind of think I've been taking it on the chin for a lawsuit I was just reporting on.
I've seen that you've made the decision to delete the videos. What's the reason behind that?
I'll say this. I have, despite Logan's threat to me that I would be alone in a courtroom, I have multiple different lawyers in different states. They have been in contact with Logan's lawyers, but there's communication both ways, and I'll leave it at that for now.
So you couldn't say if you've taken it down or not because you wouldn't be willing to stand on those claims if things went further?
No, it's not that I wouldn't be willing to stand on the claims. It's that that Logan escalated things with getting lawyers involved. I have lawyers involved. There have been demands made by me of him and demands made by him of me. So irrespective of what I said, which was fair reporting, and there's no valid defamation claim that he could bring against me. I'm trying to do something that's rare in society today, and that's kind of come together and have a more of a dialogue with him. And he may not want to do that. He may want to keep going tit for tat back and forth. And I certainly don't have as many followers as he does, but I do have a few, and I have a lot more thoughts on the issue.
Before this all happened with Logan Paul posting that interview, did anyone reach out to you before they posted, or did it just happen and you were like, oh, here we are now?
No, I was on live and someone was like, dude, Logan Paul just cooked you, bro. And I was like, what? And I went online and I saw this video and I saw my face like photoshopped with all this stuff. So nobody reached out to me. He just posted it.
Can you explain any further on the demands that you're making of him or he's making of you?
Nah, not right now.
Not right now.
There either will be there will definitely be more discussion from him on this and from me on this. I think what that will look like, I think remains to be seen in the next couple of days.
So this whole saga is definitely not over.
I don't think so. I think I think Logan made a lot of statements in his video about both the lawsuit and me, and I think there's a lot more to be explored in terms of Prime as a product.
Interesting. And can you say anything specifically from his response that you think is incorrect?
He made a statement in his response, which was somewhere to the effect of that the lawsuit wasn't about the drink, the lawsuit was about the plastic bottling. Now, and so I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't remember that. And I went back and read the lawsuit, and the word plastic doesn't appear in the lawsuit, and the word bottle doesn't appear. The lawsuit alleges that there are these forever chemicals in the drink, right? So I found that interesting. I wasn't sure if he was confused about which lawsuit he was talking about because there are so many against Prime. I don't know if that's something people don't know, but there are numerous lawsuits against Prime. And this is another thing that I think people get caught up on, like, oh, it's just a lawsuit, it's just a lawsuit. Like, that's true in one sense, but regardless of the stereotypes against lawyers, most lawyers don't just go around suing people repeatedly unless there's like a reason to do so. So that's something people might want to think about.
Did you manage to make any money from the videos before they got taken down?
No, dude. Everybody's like, you made fun. I'm like, dude, I have never, like, more power to you as a very influential. But I've made no money off those videos. That's why, like, I got like hateful comments, like, bro, like you just made money, dude. I haven't made any money off them.
So you're not part of the creator program in the US?
No, and I probably should be, but I'm too old and dumb, I guess, to have done that.
In your original video, the one that got over 16 million, you said that one bottle of Prime contains more PFO chemicals than you should have in your entire lifetime drinking water. Then a food and chemical scientist, I imagine you've seen this one on TikTok, called Food Science Babe, basically called your claim specifically ridiculous and said that you misunderstood the data and exaggerated it by 116,000 times to what the lawsuit said itself. I'm assuming you've seen that video. Do you think she was wrong about that, or?
So as a lawyer who litigates cases like this all the time, there's always an expert on both sides, right? Like if like someone sues, they have an expert, like a food science expert. The defendant has a food science expert. Not surprisingly, they're always saying different things. And I have the lawsuit here right in front of me, and the allegation, and I'll just read it, is, quote, the amount of PFOS found within the product, referring to Prime grape, from plaintiff's testing is approximately 3 times the recommended lifetime health advisory for drinking water. Like, that's the allegation. And this is the EPA's lifetime drinking water health advisory, which states that the limit for PFOS is 0.02 parts per trillion.
So in her video, she essentially says, and to be fair, I've read it too, and it is a pretty easy thing to misunderstand because of the way that it's said. But essentially what she's saying, and in very simple terms, because when you start talking about 0.2 parts per trillion, etc., it can get very confusing and we can lose a lot of people. But what she is saying is that essentially the concentration that they are referring to, which is the health advisory, is what they're recommending for an entire lifetime. So essentially, if you can take all of that and you condensed it to the equivalent amount in Prime, it would be 3,000 parts per trillion instead of 0.02. So that's where she's saying once you do the math and you break it down and you put it in the equivalent amount of what the advisory says, that's where she gets her 116,000 times higher than
the advisory.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm going to test the prime. I'm going to have the product tested. Not me, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to hire an accredited lab to test the product on behalf of the father who hired me, whose child has leukemia. And I don't know if people forgot about that, but like this started with me actually looking into this product because I was hired to evaluate a potential case.
So on the leukemia front, another doctor has come out saying that to even claim that you could contract leukemia, which is even the wrong terminology for that, from a prime drink is so absurd that it's offensive to those with leukemia. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Who's that? Who is that?
Dr. Ids. He's a UK-based nutritionist.
Dr. Ids? So I've handled cases involving toxic exposure against Monsanto, Bayer, all these big companies. And there's doctors that come in every single case and say, that's insane, that is ridiculous, that's never going to happen. And there's doctors that have said that, and then juries have come back with multi-billion-dollar verdicts in favor of the plaintiff, in favor of the person suing. So I don't know Dr. Ids, and I'll have to watch their video. But having doctors dispute what my experts say or what I say is kind of like just a regular Monday for me.
What I think about all of this is, you know, if you are essentially reporting on what a lawsuit claims, then no matter whether the lawsuit that you're reporting on is factual or not, you shouldn't be held liable because you're just saying what this is, you know, is claiming. But the one time which I think is specifically where your claims differ from what the lawsuit says itself is that one bottle of Prime has 3 times the level that you should have in your entire lifetime. That like carried this very far. And a lot of other creators said that claim specifically. And so if that isn't the case, which this food scientist has broken it down, which it seems it's not, there could be a case in there where your individual claims could be seen as the problem and not the lawsuit itself.
I don't think there's any claim at all as a lawyer. And that's not just me drinking my own Kool-Aid, no pun intended. I think that you're going to get a lot of people with opinions on social media, but it seems that there's been this overriding theme that like this is correct and this is the interpretation. But anybody commenting on the lawsuit and what I said, even if they're a health scientist, they're also just commenting on what someone else said. Like they haven't seen the results, they haven't done the testing as far as I know.
The point that I was making was that specifically the lawsuit is beside the point with this point here. It's your alleged misinterpretation of the lawsuit that you then put on social media and it went viral. Like that's the specific thing. I just want to know whether you dispute whether you were wrong or whether you would say, to be fair, I misunderstood that. I shouldn't have said that or whatever. What do you think?
No, I think it's a fair interpretation of what the lawsuit said, period. And I think, quote, the amount of PFOS found within the product from plaintiff's testing is approximately 3 times the recommended lifetime health advisory for drinking water, period. And I think if people really want to like fight about that, they should call or interview the lawyer who filed the case, get the testing results, and see what the numbers are. That's my view on it. Logan said he had samples from every batch. He said, I have samples from every batch. If he really wanted to put it to sleep, he could have tested like numerous batches and been like, boom, here's the test results. He didn't do that. And I'm not saying that means he's liable, but I'm just saying that he could have done that for 8 months and he didn't.
Do you think after all of this, there's any credibility to the lawsuit?
I don't have an opinion on the credibility of the lawsuit, but I know that lawyers who sign their name to documents in federal court are subject to sanctions under it's called Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11. And what Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11 says is if you're going to sign your name to a lawsuit, little bro, you better be, if you are like misrepresenting stuff or if you're like, you're going to get sanctioned, you could get sanctioned, you could get disbarred, you could get in big trouble. Logan Paul today could file a motion if he wanted for sanctions against that lawyer saying you violated Rule 11, your lawsuit is garbage, this is complete garbage, you're a liar, I'm going to sanction you. He's never done that, right? Like his lawyers, like that dude has like some of the biggest, most powerful law firms working. Like he has multiple like huge global law firms, like people that went to Harvard, Yale Law School, like clerked for the like U.S. Supreme Court. There are people that have clerked for the Supreme Court of the United States that work at some of the law firms he has. Like they know Rule 11. They know like if this lawsuit is actually frivolous and actually false, we could sue the living crap out of this lawyer or any lawyer. Logan has never done that. He's never done it, right? Like none of his lawyers have sued these people. Like I think Logan's an excellent PR guy and does excellent marketing. And as much as his video has resulted in very aggressive and like threats to my family and me personally, that's kind of how the First Amendment works, right? Like it's free speech. He did a video, like, I mean, he ragged on my hair, which it's cool, dude. I used to have more hair, but like when you all get older, this might happen to you too. But yeah,
Presumably, all of these these beverage brands have had lawsuits filed. Is there any reason why specifically you picked up Prime and you put it on social media? Was that because you knew it would get attention, or do you think this one specifically the public needed to know about? What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And the answer is having been contacted by a father whose child had leukemia and having seen the allegations in the lawsuit, I felt like it was important for people to at least know what was alleged, particularly given that the children are involved. And then my hope was that people would do with that information what they wanted. What actually happened is it turned into social media World War III. But you know, like it's a free country. Like, and I said in a video I did yesterday, like if Logan is right, like Prime should win, like whoop their butt in court. Like I'm all for the competitive process.
And you said that you're now going to go and get the Prime bottles and drink specifically tested independently?
Yes, and I wanted to offer if Logan wanted to split the cost of that testing, we can do that because I don't want to be accused of, oh, you paid for it and you represent the, you know, the kid. I've even thought about giving him the choice of what lab he wants to choose.
Okay, do you have any idea if he does say yes when you do this?
Whenever.
Whenever? Awesome. Okay. And last question. Have you ever had Prime yourself, and what do you think about it?
Never had it. I've never had it, so I don't have an opinion on it. But I think lots of people like it, and that's very, very popular.
If someone offered you a Prime, would you drink it?
Not until I see the test results.
Cool. Fair answer. Fair answer. Really appreciate your time. Logan has a lot of followers. Whatever he says will be seen, and I hope to even that out a little bit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll let you know like what I find out.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All
Cheers,
right,
man.
Later.
Bye.